to the VET S.O.S Veteran Educational Resources Spotlight. Remember, don't drown the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S Lifeline. VET S.O.S is brought to you by the Who You Know Network and proud members of the Parade Day community. As always, I'm here with Dr. Hira. How you doing today, Dr. Hira?
I am good. I'm excited to have this guest today. As a New Englander, I grew up hearing this school name a lot. So, yeah, let's get into it.
You know me, I'm on the sports side. I always think of Doug Flutie. Always pops out here. So today we sit down with Mike Lorenz, an Air Force Air National Guard veteran of 10 years, serving as an A-10 weapons loader and deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. He has also been working in higher education professionally for 17 years, first in student affairs and human resources. However, the past 4 years, he has served as the Director of Military and Veteran Support at Boston College. Building the program from the ground up, he continues to try and serve the military-connected community both on and off campus, including working as a 4-block instructor in Boston, which is fantastic. Another great program. How you doing today, Mike?
I'm good, thanks. We were just discussing before this. It snowed this morning, which we were not expecting, but that's all right. We'll deal with it. I'm happy to be here.
As I sit here in my flip-flops in shorts. I love it. All right, so before we jump into school, let's talk about your transition. How did your transition out of the military go, Mike?
Yeah, so because I was in the Guard, it was a little bit different, I think, than a lot of the active duty folks who may be listening. I turned in some equipment, and I basically walked out the door. My base got BRAC, base realignment and closure, so they took our airplanes away. I was moving to Boston at the time, out of Michigan, so that part was quick. I think one thing, if I can highlight, for those who might be in the Guard or Reserves, coming back from Afghanistan in 2008 was a huge, that was a rough transition. I think for me, within 24 hours, I'm back in my home. I was visiting with my folks, my partner, all that kind of stuff. I was back at work within 3 days, I think, and sitting through meetings, talking with students. It was hard to not focus on their lack of focus on the war and on what was going on. They were complaining about the cold, like I just did. And I thought, I just came from the mountains of Afghanistan in the winter. Like, well, you have no idea what cold is. You have no idea what's going on in the world. And I was pretty angry for a while. And so, I still deal with things from that time. I'm much better now. And I understand that, they were living in their world and I was living in mine, but it was very hard to come back that quick to a civilian world. And so for anyone out there listening who might have gone through that or be going through that, I won't say it's normal, but it is something that a lot of people deal with, and you're not alone. So,
and you bring up a great point. We don't talk about that nearly as much as we should, especially the Guard and Reserve guys. That's the life. You one day you're carrying a weapon, 3 days later you're sitting in a classroom again, and that's crazy when you think about it. Whereas the active duty, personnel, you continue to be around the military and you sort of all work through it together, and that is a big deal, and I'm glad you're able to work through it. And I mean, I'm learning as much as anybody the last couple of years that little things still trigger stuff.
Yeah.
I watched the movie The Outpost, and even though I spent most of my time on FOBs because I'm intel, that one shut me down for like 4 days. That movie was serious, so
yeah.
I mean, little things trigger you.
And excuse me, it's easier because you're in the civilian world a lot, so you already have one foot in the door, but it doesn't get focused on a ton, and it's a quick shift. So,
yeah. All right, so tell us about Boston College. Aside from getting to see snow in April, what's the big draw?
So, I worked here for a long time. I left here for a short bit, and I came right back because I like it. We're a mission-driven institution, which I think you can take that a bunch of different ways. We're a Jesuit Catholic institution, but you do not have to be Catholic to work here or to study here. You do not have to buy into that religious aspect, but we do ask people to buy into the service component, and one of our mantras is people for others, and I think that serves your life after the military pretty well. We all serve for whatever reason, but I think ingrained in us is a lot of trying to give back and trying to give something to society or participate in society in some way, shape, or form. And so I think for us and for our students, we expect you to go off with your degree, like have your experience at BC, whatever that might be, grad school, undergrad, whatever programs, but then go do something with that degree in the world. Make the world a better place. And I think through that, you find that the faculty and staff are bought in on that. The students, once they get here, see it, in their classwork, in their extracurriculars, whatever it might be. So we are a very caring place. Excellent academics. We're in Boston, which offers a lot of opportunities. We have some very strong peers down the road from us. And so, choose where you fit. But I think for us, the difference maker is our mission, and that we actually buy into it. We really believe that you should go off and do something good with your degree and help humanity in some way, shape, or form. And I think we found that resonates with especially a lot of military folks.
What I heard there is don't go to college and eat the books. I love it. I love them. Send them out with a mission. And so true. You're dedicating a lot of time and effort to this, and going out in the world and making a difference, Doctor, here, I think is something that we should all strive to do.
Yeah, and I think it builds that connection of kind of like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? Why am I learning this material? How can I use this in a way that is beyond myself? It just creates a different way to engage with material and find that value in the degree in a different, besides the checkbox, So what does the programming look like then for the students? What's the size of the VET Center, or ways in which students are gathering?
Yeah, so we have about 100, just shy of 160 student vets or active duty folks, 53 ROTC. We have about 30 to 40 dependents, military family spouses. That's what we know of. That's a little bit harder for us to track. And we have about 75 faculty and staff who are veterans. And so with that crew, plus hundreds, if not thousands, of alumni, and they're starting to come back more and more now that this position, or my position, is here. Some good stuff that we do. We're the only program in Boston that has a real football team, a college football team. And so we have a great relationship with our athletics staff. So they give us a tailgating spot. So we have a tailgate spot right down by the stadium every football game. And that's open to veterans, family, friends. It's a good military family, but also, we've had people from other teams like, I'm a vet, can I come hang out? And absolutely, it's a very communal thing. And so in the fall, when most people are starting, it's a really good opportunity for everyone to kind of come together. We have a couple traditional programs run through our alumni, especially around Veterans Day. We have a Veterans Memorial Wall on campus and things like that. And then we do have a Veterans Lounge space. It is a modest space. So my office is centrally located in the middle of campus. People stop by. There's a cafe downstairs. I'll take people to coffee or lunch or whatever. But then we have a Veterans Lounge also on the main campus, where every student veteran, their card access works, stocked with snacks, fridge, that kind of thing. It's like a commuter lounge. Not huge. Space is a little hard with us here in Chestnut Hill, but it is a good space. We had 1,600 swipes so far this year.
Wow.
I just pulled that data on Friday. So it's used and people know about it. I'll never force people. I'll never say, hey, you should come to this. You need to come to this. It's everyone's at a different point in life, and some people want to hang out with other vets, and some people just want to get here and get out. Either one is fine, and I think there's a place for all of that. Yeah.
Well said. I love that because, again, I think sometimes I've worked with vets and they're like, I don't want to be a vet. Like, I don't want that to be my whole identity.
Yes.
So it sounds like you've got, the span. And you say, come to us however you want, whether you want to be fully involved, working with us all the time, or just showing up maybe for the tailgating. It's fine.
Yeah.
So Dr. here wants to go check out all these campuses and everything. So I think we have to tie it into football season, because then we can go tailgate.
I can get down there. That's just down the road for me.
Yeah. We can go tailgate, then we can go to the game. I mean, I think it's a win-win for everybody.
We're looking pretty good this year. I don't know. I'm feeling positive.
I like the point about your faculty and staff. I think we have, we hear it from other schools, like, oh, we got, obviously the military, but the fact that you had a number, I think that's that other piece of like, you don't have to just connect with the other student veterans, but understand that there are other people in the community that are now in the faculty roles, the staff roles. There's mentors beyond, and look for them. And again, shared experiences and things like that. I think it's a wonderful thing to be aware of who on the employee side is also connected, and how can they be supported, and again, collaborate with vet services and things like that. So that's a wonderful piece.
I think one of the coolest things, my role is slightly unique compared to some of my peers in the city, in the area. I work with alumni, faculty, staff, students, prospective students, military families. It sounds overwhelming, but it's not. I do all things military at BC, and that helps with the communication. I think everyone knows about everything else that's going on, and that's a piece that I don't just focus on students. I don't just focus on alumni. I focus on all of it.
And I think you're the first guest that's actually talked about the total number of professors and staff that is military. So that's great tying them in. I think it does enhance the community. And
they're great, yeah.
And so, what kind of things are you guys doing as a group, especially as it pertains to the community? Because you're talking about the importance of the community and going out and doing something with your degree. I'm assuming you have some programs where you try to get back to the local community with the group of students and stuff.
Yep, and so like I said, it's hit or miss every year. So we do have a Student Veterans Association. Our law school has one as well, and so we do our best to bring people together. It's hard because people have lives, but this year we went to Brighton Marine and did some work with them. We have invited several different groups to our tailgates. So we've had Wounded Warrior before, we've had Blue Star Families. We try and bring them in onto campus. And then when various speakers come, we had Admiral Stavridis a couple weeks ago, grab some of the student veterans, and I'm able to include them in sort of the behind the scenes, like go meet with the Admiral kind of thing. So we do that. And then over the summer, unfortunately, a lot of good volunteer opportunities happen in the summer, but I'll take a group around Memorial Day to plant the flags in the Boston Common. That's a big thing here. Run to Home Base is another one that we've participated in the past. So we try and get out there. We're a relatively small number, and I used to be a little self-conscious about that, but I'm not anymore. I think it helps us be able to show individual attention and care, and if there's a group of 3 students that want to go do something, we'll go do it. It's a very easy thing for us to manage. And even a group of non-military students, one of the business school associations, they wanted to send care packages, and I get that request a lot, but we have enough veterans here that still have connections in the service. So we're going to send some care packages off to some Navy folks who are currently underway. And so it's little things like that. I don't think we do huge programs. We do a lot of little stuff that we can actually try and see and feel, the impact.
Well, I think those little things add up, and make a big impact too. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. I think that piece too, though, about you can see what you're doing. You're directly engaged. And, I think some people are like, oh, I want to go to the big schools and, all this stuff. And it really is about finding the right institution, and, small but mighty, the smaller campuses, as you said, you're going to be a name and not a number. The way engagement happens differently. Like, if you have 3 people versus some schools are like, we need 50 at least to make this worth our time investment. So, those opportunities, it's important when people are looking at schools is to consider, what is it I want out of my education beyond being in the classroom? And it sounds like BC is saying, hey, look at all these other things that we are happy to help support you with in your development, which is, again, that learn holistically and develop holistically.
That's a great way of putting it. Yes.
That's why we brought her on here. She's more eloquent. So
the process for connecting, I know some people are probably like, I'm still intimidated, it's VC, in terms of looking you up, connecting, what does that outreach look like before people even get to you?
Yep. So my name and contact information is plastered on our website. So it's bc.edu/veterans or just Boston College Veterans. A couple things that people I don't think always see, when a student reaches out, I to my knowledge, I've never missed an email. I'll always respond to you or a family member asking about GI Bill, or like, hey, what classes do you offer, or things, anything big or small. Again, it's that individual attention. Happy to do that. I also sit on a committee with our undergrad admissions. So while I don't have the final say and I'm not an admissions officer, they gather twice a year all their military applications that are trying to transfer in or military related. And I'll help sort of translate a little bit about what their job was, what they're doing, that kind of thing. And so that's been incredibly useful. And then I'm able to connect prospective students, or faculty for that matter, with other veterans in the program that they want to go into, and say, here, this is my take. You all can listen to this. Right. You can hear my take, but listen to what they said. What do they think is good or bad, or what are their tips? And then every incoming student has, we have a transition guide, and again, we do the football games in the fall and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I'm more than happy. I will always return your phone call or your email. Just look online. You'll find all that information.
No, that's great. I think it's always a little intimidating that people feel they have a name or somebody to reach out to and learn directly from, rather than just here's a link.
Yep.
It does make a big difference. So time is flying.
Mm-hmm.
I love talking to the schools, and we could talk forever, but in like 30 seconds, is there anything else you'd like to highlight about BC, or just to share about the transition as like a piece of advice?
I think I think veterans should follow their gut. If you're looking for a place, BC is a great place. There are many other good schools, and if you come here and you're like, I don't think I like it here, that's fine. I'll help you figure it out. We just want everyone that works in my kind of world wants veterans to be successful. I think it's okay to look for things like happiness and not just chase money. It's okay to look for a place where you feel like you belong and where you feel like you fit in. Hopefully that would be BC, but if not, that's okay too. Just follow your gut.
I love that. Yep. Well said. So thank you, Mike, for joining us today on the VET S.O.S podcast. On behalf of the VET S.O.S family, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You can find the VET S.O.S podcast on all your favorite podcast platforms, YouTube, social media. Make sure you subscribe and follow so you don't miss a thing from us. And then remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the VET S.O.S lifeline.